Hello guys, welcome to one more video and thank you so much for watching. My name is Natasha, I am fluent in 9 languages and on my channel I'm sharing different language learning stories and tips. Today I decided to share with you top 5 things to avoid doing when you are learning a new language and top 5 things that you should do instead and that are going to make your language learning process way easier, way faster and way more fun. These things that I'm going to share with you are all based on my own experience with language learning and also with experience of other people and just watching their behavior and seeing what mistakes they make when learning a new language. So let's start. The worst thing, in my opinion, that you can do when you are learning a new language is to have huge dreams and huge expectations from yourself. I think this is something that happens to everyone. No, it doesn't matter if you are new to language learning or if you are already an experienced language learner. A lot of people expect to start speaking the language perfectly and fluently in only a few months. And this is something that's definitely never going to happen, even if you're the smartest person out there and someone who is talented for languages. You're not going to learn a language in a few months. So you should definitely stop dreaming too big when it comes to languages. Instead, I would recommend you to set very realistic goals. It is totally okay to be a little bit, I would say, pessimistic when it comes to language learning. Don't expect too much from yourself. It is completely okay to only learn basic A1 level language in few months. It is fine and it is perfectly normal. So do not blame yourself if after a few months of language learning you're only able to have very, very basic communication. It is a great start, it is completely okay, and trust me, nobody learns a language really well in only a few months. So thing number one to avoid is definitely having too big expectations, dreaming too big, and wanting instant results. That's not going to happen. Instead, be forgiving, be understanding with yourself, don't blame yourself or call yourself stupid because you're not able to learn something fast, because languages are definitely not something that you can master and learn fast. One more thing that a lot of people make mistake with and that I definitely recommend avoiding is focusing too much on grammar. Now, if you're still in school and if you're learning language in school, this is something that's going to be very hard to avoid, because I remember from times when I was in school, teachers definitely forced us to focus too much on grammar and to memorize different grammar rules and to be able to analyze a sentence and tell what grammar thing is going on with the sentence. This is something that you unfortunately have to learn in school, but it is going to be so useless when you are learning a language that you plan to use in your life. Of course, we cannot say that grammar is not important. It is very boring, but it is a very important part of the language. So what I recommend doing instead is learning only few basic rules, basic grammar rules, the most basic ones and easy ones to learn, because you have to start from somewhere. But do not try to memorize all of them. Do not get disappointed if or discouraged if you're not the best person in grammar, because from my own experience, if you want to learn a language in order to be able to communicate and to travel and to talk to people, grammar rules are going to be totally useless. So try learning basic ones. And then if you invest enough time in a language and if you dedicate enough of your time to listening and talking to native speakers, all those grammar rules are going to be useless, because you will pick up the language, you will pick up the way native speakers talk and the way they make sentences. And after a certain time, trust me, you will be able to use grammar in a good and correct way without even knowing the rules behind that grammar. This is something that happens with every single language out there, and every single grammar rule that I have had to learn in school was useless, because right now I don't think I would be able to explain grammar of English language or Spanish language or even of my native language, but I am able to use it, mostly because I was not focused on learning rules that much. Instead, I was focused on listening, reading and speaking. And grammar will somehow enter your head and you will be able to speak a language even without knowing the rules. So rule number 2, don't focus on grammar. Instead, learn the basics and try to practice speaking as much as you can. Thing number 3 that you should definitely avoid doing is feeling offended when someone corrects you in a language that you're speaking. This is something that's 100% based on my own experience, because for a very long time I used to get really upset when someone corrects me. When I speak English, Spanish, any other language that I speak, I would always have a feeling that, okay, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I should already know this. They shouldn't be correcting me. And honestly, this is something that happens to me not only when it comes to languages, but every time I get any kind of criticism, I get really upset. And I'm sure that it's same for most of us. But when it comes to languages, people correcting you is actually very, very useful. I have to be honest and say that every single time when someone corrected me in any language that I speak, I would get upset, definitely. I would play that whole scene in my head over and over again, but I would never forget the thing that they corrected me about. I would memorize it forever, and I would never again make the same mistake in that language. So if you have ever been corrected either by native speaker or someone else about your language skills in any language you speak, I know that you probably felt bad, but trust me, there is nothing that will help you learn more. Maybe because feeling a little bit insulted and offended is actually a little traumatizing event for our brain, so we memorize it forever. And in case of languages, trust me, you will never make the same mistake again when someone corrects you. So if you have a chance to speak with native speakers of a language that you are learning, let them know that you want to be corrected in a case you make mistakes, because I know that a lot of people don't want to point out someone else's mistakes. I'm one of them. And actually, it's bad because you can help a lot to people who are learning your language if you correct them. So if you're speaking with native speakers, let them know that you want to be corrected. And once they correct you, I can guarantee you, you will never make the same mistake again. Your brain will memorize what is a wrong pronunciation or wrong thing to say, and you will definitely learn how to say it the right way. So don't be offended when people correct you. Take it as an opportunity to actually improve your language skills. Thing number 4 that I recommend you to not do is to focus too much on books when it comes to language learning. Languages I speak the best were definitely not learned from books. For most of the 9 languages that I learned, I never even had a book. I didn't learn them in school. I didn't have classes of those languages. I never actually had a book with like words and vocabulary and grammar rules. I learned most of it on internet. So what I recommend you is to, instead of focusing on books only, I think you should use all the benefits of the internet and of our 21st century way of life. So instead of having your head in the book whole day, you should watch movies, listen to the music, watch your favorite TV shows in a new language. Try to find friends who are native speakers or who speak that language. And trust me, your learning is going to be so much more fun. You will feel so much more relaxed. You're not gonna be bored, definitely. And I know that a lot of people are downplaying when someone says that they are watching movies and that they learn certain language from movies or from TV shows. They are always thinking, you don't actually speak that good. You have to, have a book or classes or school. It is not true. I can explain it on from my own experience. I used to learn German in school for 4 years, and my German is so bad. On the other hand, I learned Spanish from the beginning from TV shows, and then later on from internet. I never had a book for Spanish learning, and I speak Spanish so much better than I will ever speak German. So do not focus on books. Instead, focus more on listening, reading, and speaking. And my last advice for today, or last thing I want to recommend you to avoid doing, is translating everything in your head from your native language into the language that you're learning. I know this is very hard to do because it is somehow logical that if you want to speak another language, you should translate word by word and sentence by sentence from your native language into the new language, everything that you want to say. But I can tell you that from watching the people around me who are learning languages, I can definitely tell you that people who tend to translate every sentence and every word are usually the ones who don't have much success when it comes to language learning. What you should do instead is try to only think in that language, the new language that you are learning, and don't even include your native language in the whole story. So if you're a Spanish native speaker and you want to learn English, or you're learning English and you want to speak English, do not translate things from Spanish into English word by word and then expect to actually sound good. First of all, languages are so different. They have different sentence structure. So something that sounds good in Spanish is not going to have the same meaning in English. So try avoiding that. Instead, try to kick out your native language from your brain for a while. Try to only think in English, for example. I know this is very hard, especially when you're a beginner and when your language level is not very high yet, but it is going to help you for a few reasons. And something that I have noticed on myself, even if I'm not really good in certain language, even if my level of proficiency is not very high, if I focus on that language and only think in that language, I might not know all the words, I might not be able to say something, or sometimes I might even forget how to say something, but my brain is going to work very hard and I'm going to find a new way to say something. So even when I forget the word for, I don't know, store, I will find a way to explain what store is using other words. And this is the reason why you should definitely avoid translating everything. First of all, it will take you a long time. You won't be able to have a normal conversation if you are translating everything in your head. So stop doing it. Instead, try using all the words you know in a new language and make mistakes. It's fine. Ask someone to help you with the word, but try to kick out your native language from your head and only focus on the new language that you want to speak. That was it for today. Those were my top 5 things to avoid doing and what to do instead when it comes to language learning. Please let me know in the comments, do you have something to add? I would like to hear your tips and advice for language learning. And also, guys, I would like to hear, what do you think about the current situation in the world? Are you optimistic about the future of our planet? Because the more I watch news and the more I hear what's going on in every single part of the world, the more I wonder like what's gonna happen with us in the next few years. And I don't know if it has always been like this. Probably the situation in the world was never perfect, but I have a feeling that past few years have been worse than ever before. And I don't know if it's only because I'm following news way more than I used to do before. But really, my optimism, which was never on very high level, is going down every single day. So let me know in the comments, are you also a little bit worried about our future and political situation? And thank you so much for watching my videos. In case you like them, please like my video, leave me any comments, subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. See you soon.